Hello everyone, what I'd like to do today is make a B6 Traveller's Notebook cover using this absolutely gorgeous paper from the July monthly subscription kit from the Planner Society. This is my favourite paper from the kit. It's pink, I love pink, and also these flowers have this gorgeous sparkling hollow on them. So I'm using a B6 at the moment, so this is my B6 template. This is a piece of US letter, so it's 11 inches across here, and you can see my B6 template is wider than that. That's because I like to make a wide traveller's notebook cover in order to stuff it full of lots of inserts, which I also like to make. So I make my B6 cover 13 inches wide. So in order to make the one sheet of US letter paper fit, what I do is I add a spine in the centre of the cover. This one here is a past paper from a Planner Society kit, and I've added a leather spine into the centre of the US piece of letter paper. And then I'll just show you this one quickly. This one's using a past paper also, and this one has a paper spine from another paper from a Planner Society kit. So it's two different papers there. And this one is lined with leather, just like the past one. But this one also, I added some paper pockets here. So to strengthen the pockets and to strengthen all of this, I've actually decoupaged this with a couple of layers of decoupage. And then this makes this much more durable and user-friendly. So that's a pocket on the inside and the outside, which I've sewn on. The Traveller's Notebook cover I'm making today, I haven't actually decided if I'm going to add pockets or not. So I think what I'll do is just start the process and see how I feel about it. So what I need to do first is cut the paper in half and to the right height. Just slice that a little bit off there. I'll keep this because I'm sure I can use it when I'm decorating my dashboards. We'll just cut that at 5.5 inches. And then if we put these two together, so the next step is to cut a piece of cardboard just to fit in the middle here, so that should be 2 inches. So I just have a white piece of card. Losing my voice. I'll just cut that at 2 inches. Oh, the blade's up here, but that's okay. The blade does work either way. I just prefer to use it pushing away from myself. And we'll cut that at the same height, which was 7, it was here, just before, 1 mark before the 8. We'll just compare those to make sure we've got them the right height, and there we are. So I've just used 1 mark before the 8 inch there, and that's the height of my Traveller's Notebook. So this is all the paper cut, so we've got 3 components of the paper, and that gives us the size of the B6 cover that we want. So the way that I attach this to leather, which I'm going to line the inside with, is with a heat fusible interfacing. So the heat fusible interfacing that I use is this, which is a Legacy brand. It's called Easy Steam 2 Fusible Web and Adhesive with Backing. It's a 2-sided pressure sensitive fusible web. And so it says on it, it's easy to use with fabric, cardboard, paper, batting, ribbon, patches, foam, wood and more. So it's a very good mixed media product for bonding things together, and you just bond them together using the heat of an iron. This one uses steam. I do not use steam when I'm bonding cardboard or paper though, so just a dry iron on sort of a medium heat when I use it. But we'll go through step by step and you'll see that process now. So the first thing to do is to cut enough backing to fit the Traveller's Notebook cover. I've put some of the Legacy brand heat fusible interfacing on the back of the paper. So now what I need to do is remove the paper backing from the other side of the heat fusible. So the best way to do this is generally just to put a little rip in the side of the interfacing, and then you can peel up a little bit of the paper off the webbing. Like so. Now, as I said, sometimes this sticks better than other times to the paper. So I'm just going to redo that. So I've got the very sticky side of the heat fusible interfacing facing up towards me. And now I'm just going to place the cover on top of the very sticky side. So ideally you'd like the cover just to be one piece of cardboard, but because I'm trying to make a Traveller's Notebook cover that is larger than a US letter size piece of card, then I can't do that. So I need to have this 2-inch spine in the middle just to extend the size of the cover. Okay, I seem to have gathered it a bit there. And then we'll put this one right up against that spine. So I have the 3 parts of the paper cover. Because I don't actually want to iron this onto my ironing board cover, I'm just going to go around the outside and cut the heat fusible interfacing off the book cover. Okay, I'm just going to go and tidy up all the edges just to make sure there's nothing sticky overhanging. All we've done now is we've got our paper and we've put on the pressure sensitive heat fusible interfacing. So what I like to do is just make sure there's nothing sticky all around the edges, or else we might end up getting the leather attached to the edges and it won't look so pretty. Okay, so we cut that out, and then I've got my leather, and the next step is to lay the leather on top, putting the leather the right side up. Okay, so this is my leather. Then I use some baking paper, which is also called parchment paper. I just put some parchment paper on top of the leather before I iron. I then like to just start in the center, so I have the iron on a medium heat on a dry setting. Definitely no steam. And then I just hold the iron for a few seconds in each spot. So as I've already mentioned, this is a very thin garment leather. So we'll just check if that's adhered. We can see there it's not fully adhered on the corner. So first of all, make sure we actually do the corner, and then just make sure we iron all of it. I prefer to iron it a little bit, check it, and then iron it a little bit again. You can also iron it after the fact. I've had one I didn't iron enough, and as I was using the Traveller's Notebook I noticed the adhesive wasn't bonding as well as it should be, so I just took all my inserts and everything out and gave it another iron and made sure it was heated sufficiently to work. So we can see the corners adhered a bit better now. This corner isn't. I'm not too concerned about the actual corners as I actually round the corners, but because the corners haven't yet adhered, it could indicate I haven't ironed the entire thing sufficiently, because it's that heat which causes the fusible to bond the paper and the leather together. So we need to ensure we have enough heat. We just need to be careful with ironing leather in particular that we don't apply too much heat and actually damage the leather. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. Okay. Next step is just to cut around the outside, to cut the leather off from the hide of leather. Okay, the cutting's a little bit rough, so I'm just going to cut it out roughly and then tidy it up. I've trimmed the leather around the outside. The next step is to attach a spine to it. Okay, so I have this little offcut of leather here, and I'm just going to see if that's big enough for a rectangular spine. So the spine needs to be 2 inches by just less than 8 inches. So I should just be able to get this one to work. So I'm going to put the super sticky side of this heat fusible interfacing onto the back side of the leather, the reverse side of the leather. So I'm doing this like I always do. I'm just ripping through the paper backing in order to reveal some of the webbing. I'm going to keep the paper backing on the other side of the webbing attached. So this is the super sticky side here. I'm then just going to make sure that my leather is 100% stuck onto there. What I'm going to do is cut 2 inches, a 2-inch strip out of here. So I'm going to put this ruler along the 10-inch line. I'm just doing it on the 10-inch line because that's where I am. So I'm going to cut a straight bit out of here with my rotary cutter. There we go. Okay, and I want to place the ruler along the 10 to cut so that I end up with 2 inches. So I can just see through here and I can see that that's running along the H line. So I'll just cut up here and that will give me 2-inch width. So I now need to cut a straight line along here. So I'll put that there. Okay, so we'll cut there And now I need to cut it at 7.8 inches, I think it is. Let's see, if I start at the 5, it's just before the 13. So we'll start at the 5. And we'll stop just before the 13. We can always trim a little bit off if we make it a bit big, but it's a bit hard to add a little bit on. So here we have the rectangular spine, and I want to adhere that to here, like so. So I'm just going to peel this backing off the heat fusible interfacing, and then place this along here. Okay, so we've just got that sitting there. Now we need to heat it so that the heat fusible will activate and adhere the leather to the cover. So I'm going to try turning it over and applying the heat on this side, because I'm a little bit concerned about the hollow on the paper, and if I directly iron on it I may ruin it. I'm just going to try, I'll just put my baking paper, parchment paper down here, just going to try heating it from this side. I feel relatively hopeful about it because I am using a very thin garment leather on this traveller's notebook, so there isn't a huge amount of thickness for the heat to need to travel through. So looking back on it, what I could have done is actually attach the spine to the paper before attaching the leather lining to the paper. And that's certainly what I would do with a thicker leather. It's just as this is a thinner leather that I have hope that this will work. Yep, that certainly seems to be working. I might just give it a little bit more heat. Excellent. So there we have the traveller's notebook cover made from the letter size piece of paper, and we've got leather along the 2-inch spine here, and we've got leather on the inside. Now it's time to finish the traveller's notebook cover. So what we've done is we've cut 2 pieces of paper and adhered them to leather with heat fusible interfacing, and then we've adhered a leather spine. So we have a traveller's notebook cover like this. So now what we need to do is insert the holes and round the corners. We don't have to round the corners, I just like to round the corners. So I use this crop-a-dile corner chomper for that, and I use it on the 1/4 inch setting. Sometimes it's not so great getting through the leather and it might take a couple of times, or what I can do once it's cut through is I can just tidy it up with a small pair of scissors like so. And the next step is to insert the holes. So I have a B6 template which I've made, and I do have another tutorial showing you how I made this. So I use the template for the holes, and I just use some clips like these just to hold the template to the cover. To make these holes I have a crop-a-dile, a We Are Memory Keepers crop-a-dile. This one is actually called a crop-a-dile, whereas this one is a crop-a-dile corner chomper. So they are different. The crop-a-dile you can use to punch holes and insert eyelets. So I only have this one. You can get a long-armed one, and if you have the one with the long arm, it can also do this hole in the center, whereas I use a manual punch to do that. So with this I use the 1-inch hole, and I make the holes 1/4 of an inch from the edge. So my template shows me where the hole should be, and also this pushes right up against there. Sometimes the little bits get stuck in there. There it goes. You need to just try and knock it out, because otherwise it's quite hard to see for the next one where to put it. Okay, so that's those holes. I'll use that again to put eyelets in. And now I need to make the center hole. So for that I have a leather punch. So I have these hollow punch sets which are for punching leather, and the smallest one is a 1/8 of an inch, and so that's the one I use. You could make all of your holes with one of these. So what you need to do is you need a hard surface, as you need to hammer this. To use this we just place the hollow leather punch on the hole in the template, and that is the centre. That is the centre of the Traveller's Notebook cover. Once you've made your holes, you can take the clips off, move the template out of the way. So now we have all the holes for the elastic. This is set on C3. If you look at the cubes here, you can see this one is 3, and this one says C. So C3 is what you use for setting 1/8 of an inch eyelets, and you line it up and go like so. You're just clamping it together. I'll just do all 3 and then I'll show you. So they are set in there. Due to the magic of filming, I'll now continue this tutorial in daylight, so the lighting should be a little bit better than the beginning of the tutorial. So what I've done off camera is I've put the centre eyelet into the Traveller's Notebook. I did this with this eyelet setting gizmo and just a small hammer, and so you put the eyelet in the hole, turn it over and bash it with the hammer, and that sets the eyelet. What I've also done is just trimmed up all of my edges to tidy up the edges of the Traveller's Notebook cover. So I did that using this mat and making sure it was nicely on a line. I then used the steel ruler of this, and I used a rotary cutter I push it away from myself, and just to cut the edges, to make the edges nice and straight. So I've done that. So we now have the entire Traveller's Notebook cover apart from the elastics. So to measure the elastics which go in here, I've already cut some elastic. I measure the elastic to about 4.5 times the height of the traveller's notebook cover. If you don't want to actually measure it with numbers, you can just do it just by going 4.5 up and down. Then what I like to do is just heat seal the ends of the elastic to stop fraying. So I just use a lighter and just gently heat seal the ends. And now it's time to thread the elastics. So with one centre hole, we go up the centre down to about halfway, and then we get the other end of the elastic and go up the hole beside. Then all the way down the bottom in a straight line, and then up the centre hole, then we need to put it back down the centre hole. This will be quite a tight fit with the eyelets. This is the first time I've actually used these tiny eyelets in these holes. I've never bothered in the past. And my traveller's notebook covers have been fine without the eyelets. I just wanted to do something a bit different this time. So that's quite a tight fit. I might just try pushing the end through with some scissors. Yes, that's very snug with 2 of those in there. Just loosen that off a bit. Okay, and then we go up the hole beside and then down the bottom, and then we need to go back up the centre hole at the bottom. So the end's starting to fray. This metallic elastic's worse than standard 2mm elastics. The metallic frays a lot more, which is why I heat seal the ends. But we can just cut a fresh end once we've got this through here. This might be why I've never bothered with the eyelets before. I just need a new end. As you can see, it's just got too frayed to work with. Okay, so if we... I'm trying to pull this elastic right to the side to make as much room as possible, and then I'll just try and use my little scissors just to poke. And there's the end there, so we can pull that through. You can hear it's a very tight fit. And then we knot these two together. You can adjust how tight or loose you have these elastics. Once you have books and dashboards and things inside, you can adjust those. They might be a little bit tight at the minute actually. That's okay, I can loosen them off camera. So that's that elastic. Yes, you can see here where it's puckering at the edge that I've got that a little bit tight. So to measure across for the centre, I do about the width of the traveller's notebook cover and then another inch or so. And then I heat seal the ends of that also. Then I just put the ends together and do a simple knot like so. This is going to be fun getting through this little eyelet. Oh, actually, I think it's going, I think. No, I'm actually, I managed to push the eyelet out. I don't think I'd need eyelets anyway, as the spine has 2 layers of leather and 1 layer of cardstock. So I don't know if it will fray around the edges of the holes anyway, but I can put an eyelet in there again. So then this elastic goes around the centre, like so. So there we have the Traveller's Notebook cover, and this time I've put this rectangular spine on it. I have another tutorial showing how to design and make and attach a scallop spine. This time I've used the rectangular spine, which I quite like actually, and it will still curve around books. It's just it doesn't have anything in it at the moment, so you can't really see that. So that's that. So I think also what I'd like to do is attach an adhesive pocket onto the inside, so I'll just get that. Okay, so these adhesive pockets came in the Planner Society kit, and I plan to just stick one on there, just sticking it to the leather. So I shall do that in a minute. First of all, I just thought I'd put some inserts in here, just to see what it looks like. These are some Annie Plans printables, which are blank. So another thing I might do is just create a jump band. So for a jump band, I do about 2 times the height of the book and then a little bit more. And then just do a simple knot in the end. These knots are a bit hard to hold on this metallic elastic, and I did burn the end of that, so I'm just going to trim that a little bit. So the jump band is just like a large hair tie really. It's just a loop of elastic, and I'm just going to put the jump band in one set of inserts. And then put another insert on the other side of the jump band, like so. So you have 2 inserts attached by the jump band, and then you just thread that under one of the elastics in the notebook. So you have one either side, and then you can insert another insert or dashboard or something onto that elastic. I'm not going to do that in this case. So I haven't exactly filled it yet. I have made one dashboard from the July Traveller's Notebook kit, so I just made this last night, just with an old sticky note from the Planner Society, and I made a little bit of a shaky window here with some sequins, some very gorgeous simply gilded washi there. So it's a fairly simple one, which I just made last night. I don't think I've finished it yet, but what I'll do is just pop that around there so we can start to see it all coming together. Let me know if you'd like to see more tutorials, or if you'd like to see a flip through of the notebook when I finish it. Let me know anything really, always happy to hear from you.